differently in our lives if we in our older years could communicate with our present selves. I believe that by the time the young generation gets to an elderly age, the intense and relentless consequences of our current way of life and of living will be in full swing, and a wave of pain and regret will sweep humanity. The way we eat, think, and spend our energy is depressing us as beings. It is intoxicating us to the point that our bodies are reacting and dilapidating. We are unable to find joy or peace and are riddled with stress and anxiety. And we are supporting horrendous systems that are surely going to be the end of a chance of hope to do things the right way, the fair way, and the sustainable way. What we are eating, how we are getting our food, the agricultural system, the animal farms, and how much we are eating is out of control. It's toxic, and it comes with very severe consequences to ourselves, to the environment, and to our resources, and the entire ecosystem of the planet. Most people support agriculture that uses GMOs and toxic chemicals in their farming practices. And these are prematurely picked, preserved, and shipped their produce hundreds of miles or more. The system is creating frankenfood that is also nutrient deficient and toxic. This creates numerous physical, mental, and spiritual problems for people. Also, the air, water, and soil is becoming completely contaminated by these practices to the point of no return. Humans already are seeing the severe consequences of pollution created by many factors, but heavily weighs on the food industry that we pay money to support and allow them to thrive and to grow. Obesity, cancer, autoimmune, and all diseases are at all-time highs. And it is not so discreetly due to the fact that we are eating this deficient toxic foods and being exposed to high amounts of pollutants, also caused heavily by the food industry. Animal farms are also extremely toxic to the environment and a severe form of cruel and unusual punishment to the earthlings that are tortured there and slaughtered inhumanely. And at the amount we eat, we are creating an immense amount of damaging CO2 gases, creating tons of waste, increasing our carbon footprint, increasing our support of the pain of animals, and making ourselves sick by consuming the byproducts of the system. Also, what we think so much of the time is revolved around judgments to ourselves and to others, and pessimism, fear, and lack of trust. This unhealthy thinking cycle can cause severe mental, spiritual, and even physical damage. And stress actually creates toxins within your body and can deplete you in nutrients and also prevents you from being holistically healthy and sound and can cause mental and physical disorders. The power of meditation and the link between positivity, gratitude, will to live, and mental happiness and our physical well-being is a very strong link. Spending our energy and resources the way we are is going to be absolutely detrimental to our existence. What are the businesses you support? Do they do good for the community? Do they give back? Are they fair, sustainable? Do they have good morals? Are they a company you want to grow and prosper? Are they monopoly-esque? Most people in America have a carbon footprint that would require over 5 to 10 Earths to support their lifestyle if everybody lived how they did. Our natural resources are dwindling away within the flawed and accepted system. Water and other precious resources could not be taken advantage of, should not be taken advantage of, and this should not be taken lightly. After all, we cannot eat and drink money. These are some of the main bad habits that humans are taking part of and are going to greatly affect how we look and feel in the future. But urban farming is a gleam of hope that, if given the attention and inspiration and support it deserves, can make a huge difference. Many realize the potential magnitude of the inconvenient truth setting in, but we are still partially blinded by the pretty curtain blocking the horrid scenes that we ourselves are creating. It is so easy to ignore and just continue on a day-to-day basis, feeling tired, uninspired, victimized, overworked, and even powerless and depressed. Even for those who realize how bad environmental circumstances are becoming, may not realize that they can actually start to make big differences in their communities without breaking their backs, and instead actually healing and enlightening themselves on the way through urban farming and connections. Can our species escape the mess that we have created? It's hard to say, but our biggest ally right now is inspiration, action, education, and support. Inspire people to realize and accept damages caused by the bloated and sick consumer economy. Inspire them that through urban farming, we can take back power and sustainability. We can make differences. We can reduce millions of food miles, millions of pounds of waste, reduce tons of chemicals being sprayed onto our robbed, sick, and dwindling ecosystem. And also, it's important to gain inspiration and seek that. Action, making time, starting small, avoiding getting overwhelmed, connecting with others and drawing motivation from them. Begin small projects in the garden. Start getting familiar with your soil and your environment and what's good for you to grow and successful. Get involved with community gardens and projects. Support farmers markets. Volunteer for shares on small farms. Start composting scraps and reducing your waste. Reuse materials for your own garden projects. Education. Read up on gardening know-hows. How to compost, utilize mulch, utilize sustainable water systems. Look up earthships. Look up sustainable gardening ideas. Learn how to save seeds and start seeds. The benefits of greenhouses and extending your season, and the importance of pollinators and how to support them. Support. Draw in support from family and friends and your community. There are so many wonderful resources to learn from and gain inspiration from in your communities and online. Start getting involved in community projects. Fall in love with the magic and abundance that plants and soil have to offer and their ability to support and nurture you mentally, physically, and spiritually. The developing of urban farms in our neighborhoods, schools, and communities is our best hope for the revitalization, saving, and health of our local economies, our environment, our ecosystems, and ourselves. Sustainability doesn't have to be some overwhelming, tedious task. It can be a quite rewarding and magical experience. Not only will urban farming development help cleanse and clear the air and environment, but running our own gardens and sustaining ourselves will prevent big-time monocropping GMO exploiting companies from pouring their toxic chemicals into the environment. The toxicity in our air, soil, and waters are out of control, and a primary cause is via the toxic dumping associated with the current agriculture industry that we are supporting. It is supply and demand. If we take away the demand, the supply to the problem will dissolve, and we will begin to help heal ourselves simultaneously. The food we eat now are processed, contaminated, void of nutrients. Even whole foods like fruits and vegetables that are conventionally farmed are GMOs, covered in chemicals, travel long and far, and lose their nutrients, as well as being chemically preserved. This has a very detrimental effect on our mind, body, and spirit, beyond our understanding even at this point. By farming at home and sustaining your family, you will have the cleanest, freshest, most nutrient-rich, healing foods, as well as mental peace and clarity gained from the meditational and magical practice of growing. So these are some of the main bad habits that humans are taking part in right now, and some of the ways that we can start to turn it around. If we don't learn to support local farmers, have our own gardens, use non-toxic methods, and eat much less or no animal products, the system will stay with the big monopolized businesses controlling and polluting the food supplies, and we will suffer environmentally as well as our health will dwindle. Also, the way that our society is set up, we are very judgmental and have negative self-talk, rely on social media, focus on the negative. This is a toxic negativity that seeps from our mind into our bodies, and we become sicker, more overwhelmed, more undetermined, and spread this by how we show up in the world, creating anxiety and depression. This shallow level of mental distress is a distraction to the real and severe problems that are among us, yet we stay blinded to, and are more concerned with what people think of us. Also, spending our resources like we are while intoxicating them is a huge red flag of how humanity is prioritizing themselves and how they should be prioritizing. I believe that people need to hone into the message from their future selves, how much they might be hurting, physically, mentally, spiritually, how society is functioning at that point, the condition of the planet at that point, the severe reproductive and disease-oriented consequences that have evolved out of our way of living would surely convince those of us now to go and connect with people, to learn about the system and what we can do to change it, to learn about the real consequences and how to avoid them, to learn how to prevent, become more sustainable, how to urban farm and take power back, to meditate, do yoga, connect with others, and get our minds right, stay healthy and motivated, and help each other come together, join the movement, and do what's right, what's fair, and what's sustainable.